Terry, we're back.
After a long break, we're too back.
Fantastic. It looks wonderful as well. Absolutely amazing, the allotments look.
What a day to be here, isn't it? What a day to be here.
Yeah. So what have you got in store for us today then? What treats of can the viewer enjoy today?
Being in Wales, the first thing we're going to look at is the good old Welsh leek.
Yep.
Every Welshman worth his salt can grow a leek.
Yeah.
And then we're going to take a little bit of the exotic with the celeriac. I can't grow celery, so I'm going for the alternative to celeriac.
Which is beautiful as well.
And then we are now planning for that big day at the end of the year in December, Christmas. So you can have a look at the sprouts and what we've done to make sure we got an ample supply of sprouts throughout the winter.
Right.
And then we'll finish off with Halloween not that far away, that mystic moments of goriness. We shall look at how the pumpkins are doing, ready for these grotesque Halloween masks.
Fabulous. Should we go and have a look?
Let's go and have a look, shall we?
So these leeks are looking particularly fantastic. You know, I look up, there's this wonderful row, and in fact there's this fabulous cobweb right smack bang in the middle. Lots of garden spiders around this time of year.
Do they like leeks then?
Yeah, they do. They like leeks, because you imagine that those stems are a fabulous little
they don't eat
place
them.
to sort of ambush
don't eat
flies. They don't.
No, right.
But one thing obviously is ingesting some of these leek leaves is rust. I mean, you've got some rust. You don't kind of expect it this time of year, do you, really?
Well, no. One advantage was, throughout the summer months, they grew brilliantly well. And I also break the rules, you see. If you look at these leeks, they are fairly close together, because I'm miserably tight with my soil, and I want to get as much in as I can.
Yeah.
And there should only be one leek where there's two.
Okay.
And that does then can create problems in the case of any sort of fungal diseases.
Right.
And one of the problems we had, August they made a lot of growth, but it was very wet.
Right.
And September was cool and very wet. And then it does produce this rust on the leaves. Fortunately, they're big enough to withstand it, but I've got to be very careful. I've got to keep removing these, depositing them away from the plot, because it will remain in the soil.
To burn them, burn the rust.
No, I put them in a bag and I take them off to the local tip, and they can be
Right.
just lost into there.
Right.
But it is a problem.
Is there any way of controlling it? Can you do anything with it at all?
There is no real... I mean, I'm not a chemical, I'm an organic grower, and there were several products on the market, like Dithane and various of these fungicides, which you could put on, which would coat the leaves and keep them at bay. But again, when the rain falls, that immediately disappears and the fungus starts again. There is one solution, I've been told, and with 105 leeks, it's not very practical to me. Where it starts to form, you get a pot of Vaseline, and you rub the leaf with Vaseline, and that forms up that petroleum jelly seal, and it puts those pustules under control. They can't explode and then spread the disease any further. Right. But again, I mean, I need a lot of Vaseline to supply all this, and I don't fancy spending 4 days rubbing Vaseline into a leaf.
It's time prohibitive as well, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But again, you know, in the main, they are big enough, bold enough and healthy enough now to survive it. I just go along from time to time and remove the really badly affected ones.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other particularly fascinating thing for me is that I've never really had much success with them at home. I've grown a couple. I'm just breaking your leeks.
You've wrecked a leek now.
And I just celeriac. You know, those are looking brilliant next to the leeks. I mean, do they ever suffer from any sort of kind of ravages of fungi or mildews or pests of any sort?
The only thing with them, they are obviously a celery, and basically, instead of on the long white stalks, they have a big globular white root, which is taste of celery. Right. And again, the only thing you'll find with that, you don't worry about the leaves too much. And people tell me you can chop them up in salad or deep fry, wok fry them or whatever else to use them, but I've never fancied that. But the only thing you can spot from time to time in celeriac is you'll have a lovely root, you cut it open, and internally will be some brown patches. Right. Those brown patches are evidence that there's a boron deficiency. Right. And you cannot tell that is there until you cut it open. So you might have this lovely big knobbly root, cut it in half. It's only a bit of it waste, but you can come across these unexpected surprises when you cut the root open. Right.
So, I mean, the other thing amazing about, because the celeriac, I've never really eaten it. Well, sometimes I suppose Sarah might grate it in a salad or something like that, but I've never sort of eaten it independently raw. But you say you like it sort of just scrunching like an apple.
It is. You take that green top off, peel it, take all the knobbles off, give it a quick wash in one of your water bins so it's clean. Free from all insecticides.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And then I just eat it like an apple, and it's delicious. It's got a softish sort of feel about it, and you can bite through it, and you've got this fantastic... It's like eating a piece of celery in a ball form, and it is absolutely...
So next month, can we do that? Can we eat one of them?
We can eat one of them next month, no problem.
I don't want to eat the one that I'm going to take away with me.
You're not taking them with me, they're not big enough. You'll have to wait till next month for them.
Yeah. Anyway, I've got to get up because my knees are killing me, so I can't say that.
What am I going to do? I need a help though.
Come on, let me come. There you go. So as I gaze down here, there's a little leek that's got a little stubby head. What's been going on there then?
Well, this is one of the problems with leeks. Is trying to get the timing right that you get them to grow properly without going to seed.
Right.
And this warm weather has created a problem. They now have been cool for most of September and suddenly find, it's warm.
Yeah.
I can now make my seed heads in spring again.
Yeah.
And they'll send up the seed head. And then what happens to the seed head is a big thick part in the middle, you see.
Yeah.
And that's taking all the goodness out of the leek to make seeds, which every plant tries to do.
When I have this experience the same, especially my red onions, I just tend to snap the seed head out, and the onion does tend to have a slightly woody core to it. Does the same happen with leeks?
Yes, exactly the same. You can use the outer leaves and use some of it, but the centre core, because it's put all that energy into making a seed head, will be a bit on the tough side.
Right.
So effectively, if I only got one or two, I probably won't bother using them.
Right.
I got plenty there.
Yeah, lots and lots of leeks in here.
That's going enough to keep me through all my winter stews and all my winter cooking.
Yeah.
But it's something if this warm weather continues for any length of time, then we could have a problem. Fortunately, the days are getting shorter, aren't they? So it will be cooler in the evening. Definitely. But it's the sort of climate that will create that. It's what a plant does naturally, form seed.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Right. So different tack for you this year. Then you've covered all your sprouts with this wonderful fine mesh. A couple of different varieties of sprouts as well.
3 different varieties here. There's this new improved Icarus, there's Bridget, and there's Wellington. Because with sprouts, you want them to go over a full season. You want them harvesting now after the first frost in October, hopefully. Right. And I want to be picking these up until about February. So you want that. But one advantage, I have my rhubarb mix, which is my normal way of keeping the caterpillars off my sprouts by putting this on. The butterflies won't go near it. Yeah. But I was away for 2 weeks in August this year. And these would have been abandoned. It rained a lot on this Welsh side. So the butterflies would have had a field day. They'd have been caterpillars and these would have been stripped. So I've now put this rather nice looking net over, and this insect net, which is sufficiently fine to keep out those marauding butterflies. And what's interesting on days is to see them actually hitting this, trying to get in. They can smell the sprouts, they can smell this feed, and they can't get in. But again, it's done another thing. It's created a lovely environment for very, very healthy sprouts. And they are float the seedling sprouts.
Yep.
I've never seen sprouts in all my years of gardening actually sitting on the ground and then some 3 feet above the ground, fully laden the full way.
They are fantastic.
And they are fantastic.
I mean, how many sprouts do you think are on each of those stems? I mean, there's got to be
60
sprouts per stem.
Which is a good few feeds of Brussels sprouts.
It is.
We shan't be short for Christmas dinner this year.
No, you won't. And neither will I think.
Well, you may be lucky. I'm selling them they're only £2 a pound because they are special sprouts.
Yeah, no, it's fabulous. And it's good that you've done this. Really, I think it's fabulous to see them. No caterpillars on them, just inundated with. And of course, the other beauty of all the spiders on here is they're not being disturbed because you're not going in there picking caterpillars. No. Everything's just left to its own devices. So everything's so much happier, really.
It is, and
just by this little bit of how long did it take you to put this mesh up?
Put me half an hour, 3/4 an hour. Once you've got the poles in place, you just droop it over the top, peg it to the ground, make it impenetrable, and there you have the job done.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
brilliant. Right.
Jesus. I'm going to soak him wet knee, no? You won't go out again once we peg it in place.
Would you like a coffee? I've been up there 40 years. Terry's been up there more than me. And me and Terry have gone on together since we met each other, since we came up here. Never had a cross word. Marvellous. He is a bit forward on times, yeah. He is a bit forward on times, many a times. Like I said, whatever they want of me or Terry, or whatever we want of them, we can have. And they can have of me, providing I got it. If I haven't got it, they can't have it.
Look at this though, there's a massive sea of foliage, there's an enormous great expanse of leaves. Here it is, and that's just one root.
And what a beauty this was. This was a 2-year-old compost heap. Good, well rotted manure, plenty of green material. And then Gary gave me the pumpkin. He said, "Do you want to grow on it?" I said, "Oh, they're a pain. I don't really want it." oh, go on, I'll stick it on this compost heap.
Yeah.
Hoping it'll just fill the compost heap.
Yeah,
But
which it has.
Which it has, plus half the garden as well.
Yeah, it's got
and
it.
alongside it is another compost heap for the year after next.
Right.
And I have all the manure stacked up in the path, waiting to go in there.
'Cause you can't
and I
put it
can't
there.
get at it.
No.
But yeah, the theme today has been green manure, isn't it?
Yeah.
But what a size of green manure from this, eh?
Yeah,
all this green foliage can go back on the compost.
Yeah,
bin.
that is true.
There's
That
a lot
is
of
true.
stuff.
Yeah,
but all
there
that in there, and I know what that gets now, but my old pumpkins in the old days got 6 pints of real ale a day.
is. Right.
I can't afford real ale at today's prices. So that gets 2 pints of wormity water
Does it?
every other day.
Right. Well, that's obviously making a massive difference.
It
as
is.
well.
It loves it.
You know,
There's plenty of
Yeah.
natural organisms going into that root,
Definitely.
making all that compost in there readily available to that root, and it's
Yeah.
thoroughly enjoying it.
Yeah, no, that
Thoroughly
makes all the
enjoying it.
difference as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the thing with liquid foods, but it's got a double whammy of all that liquid food and all that fabulous viable compost.
It is. What a specimen, eh?
Superb. It
But I
is
mean,
superb.
you can see why a lot of people don't want to grow these things. It takes up a fair old area. I mean, as it happened, I'd harvested most of the stuff down there before this spread. I wouldn't have let it spread otherwise.
If you had a conventional sized garden, that would take up about a third of it,
Yeah.
wouldn't it?
Well, in the good old days when I grew giant ones, they used to take a half of an allotment.
Really?
I never used mine. I always looked for someone who was struggling, do their half a plot for them so I could grow one pumpkin.
That's a good idea.
And that just to grow, fill the
Yeah.
whole of a half a plot.
That's a really good
I mean, I
idea.
pinched like a few tips out because it was just running rampant. It had probably been on Penry's golf club by now. That's a wrap, Rich,
I think
isn't
it is. I think it is.
We've
I
had a
think we've had a lovely afternoon, really. Lovely
Yeah,
morning.
it's been glorious out here on the hillside.
Looking forward to lunch at Anthea's.
That's right. So, I think we've given the viewers something to sort of think about now in this
Yeah.
early part of autumn.
Yeah, no, it's been good. It's been
Yeah.
good, and hopefully we'll manage to conjure up a few things to talk about next month.
I'm sure now when we come along next time when the snow is down and the thick frost, so we can then really get people prepared for what is going to be a long, hard winter again.
Definitely. And of course, the other thing that the viewer can look forward to this month is the podcast, which is back on again.
Right.
So a double whammy.
They can now listen to us while they're in the garden working and then come in these darker evenings and sit there and get all these tips in front of their computer.
Great stuff. Come on then.
Right, let's leave. Let's go back and get something.